Om Ahyanatimanlasya Jananjana Shalakya Chakshuran Militam Yena Tasmai Shigove Namah. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishnapastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pacharine Nirvishesa Sunyavadi Paskachai Desatarine. This morning we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 17, Punishment and Reward of Kali. Text 5. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Nam Shiva Narottanam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jamudirayat Nasvesya Bhadresu Nityam Bhagavata Sevya Bhagavati Uttamastuke Bhakti Bhavati Naistike. Text 5. Kastvam Asharane Loke Balat Dam Sabalan Bali Naradevo Shiveshena Natavat Karmanat Vijay. Word for word translation. Kaha huach tvam you mat my sharane under protection loke in this world balat by force hamsi killing abalan those who are helpless, Bali, although full of strength, Naradeva, man god, Asi, appear to be, Vishena, by your dress, Natavat, like a theatrical player, Karmana, by deeds, Advijaha, a man not twice born by culture. Translation and purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Oh, who are you? You appear to be strong, and yet you dare kill within my protection those who are helpless. By your dress, you pose yourself to be a man god, king, but by your deeds, you are opposing the principles of the twice-born Kshatriyas. Purport. The Brahmins, the Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas are called twice-born because for these higher classes of men, there is one birth by parental conjugation and there is another birth by cultural rejuvenation, by spiritual initiation from the bona fide acharya or spiritual master. So Kshatriya is also twice born like a Brahmin, and his duty is to give protection to the helpless. The Kshatriya king is considered to be a man god or representative of God for giving protection to the helpless by chastising the miscreants. Whenever there are anomalies in this routine work by the administrators, there is an incarnation of the Lord to re-establish the principles of godly kingdom. In the age of Kali, the poor, helpless animals, especially the cows, which are meant to receive all sorts of protection from the administrative heads, are killed without restriction. Thus, the administrative heads are under whose noses such things happen are representatives of God in name only. Such powerful administrators are rulers of the poor citizens by dress or office, but factually they are worthless, lower-class men without the cultural assets of the twice-born. No one can expect justice or equality of treatment from one's born, spiritually uncultured. lower class men. Therefore, in the age of Kali, everyone is unhappy due to the maladministration of the state. The leaders of modern human society are not twice born by spiritual culture. Therefore, the people's government administered by people who are not twice born must be a government of Kali in which everyone is unhappy. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tinami. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharini Nirvishesha Sinyavadi Paskachai Desatani Srila Prabhupada Ki. So here Maharaj Pariksit, as a Kshatriya, is doing his duty. Kshatriya means protecting others from being hurt, and is especially is protecting those who are weak and vulnerable, that protecting the cow, the children, the Brahmins, women, that and also the animals. The animals must be protected like children. They are also children, considered children. A small child, when it's less than 1 year old, then it has no means to express. It is helpless, practically like the animals. That also the animals are protected. That so yes, that is the duty of a Kshatriya, or one of his duties. That so he has a duty to travel in his kingdom to see that everyone is engaged according to one's duty in the varna ashram system. That the duty of a Kshatriya is to fight opposing kings, that's one, but also to protect, and therefore they have a very, very difficult existence. We see that in the Mahabharata, that how the Pandavas had to go through many difficulties. But the business of a Kshatriya is, its qualities are described in Bhagavad Gita, in the 18th chapter. Sauyam teo daksham yudhishap apalayanam dhanam ishvarabhavasya kshatram karva svabhavacham. Is heroic, powerful, has determination, resourcefulness in battle, that is known for his generosity, his leadership. These are all natural qualities of work to the Kshatriyas. That so the Kshatriyas had to fight elements in the society which were opposing Dharma. That Kshatriyas, they have the right to enjoy great opulence and to raise taxes, but that's one side. But then they have to be very bold and to risk their life every moment by fighting if necessary. That and a king is not supposed just to stay in the palace and enjoy, no, has to do his kingdom, to see that everyone is happy and well cared for, and correct situations if necessary. to see that all the animals are protected, the cows, the bulls, and so on, and that everyone does his duty in the varnashram. And we see here that because before discussing this verse in particular, it's good to understand the way of living of a Kshatriya. Many times, because they had to exercise their fighting skills during the day, that they had a very busy schedule. But they had also, because they were twice born, twice born means Brahminical initiation. So they had 6 hours spiritual practice every day, like we have in the morning. That's 1/4 of their time, spiritual practice. But their nature is to fight. They like fighting, and they use it to protect the people. That we have seen the Pandavas that when they were challenged by the ghosts, it was the gambling match and so on. That yes, but of course, they are in a mode of passion. They like to fight, and when all this difficulty came up with the ghosts in the gambling match and so on, that Bhima, he was ready to kill everyone. He was just waiting for the sign of Yudhishthira Maharaj. But Yudhishthira Maharaj remained calm and said, we have to follow Dharma. But yeah, then Draupadi said to Yudhishthira Maharaj, it's your fault that we are here, that this gambling match and so on, that you are listening too much to the Brahmins, that their advice, too much to the classes, to the lecture. You have heard too much lecture of these Brahmins, that you should act as a Kshatriya. That was, but Yudhishthira Maharaj always said, whatever happens, we have to follow Dharma. That even if we are in great difficulty, still we have to follow Dharma. That is the part of the goal of life. Follow the religious principles given by Krishna. So that was Yudhishthira Maharaj, and also Kshatriya, he follows Dharma. But Arjuna, when these things happens with the ghosts, he was also waiting to fight, but they had to restrict themselves because Yudhishthira Maharaj was restraining them, that we should be cool-headed following Dharma. and that, of course, later there was the Battle of Kurukshetra and so on, that they had to fight, that to risk their lives every moment. That and that is a Kshatriya. One can criticize, oh, they are enjoying so much, and they get they get they impose taxes and so on. But they have also to be there to do their duty every moment, which is a very difficult existence. Also, Kshatriya was responsible for the prajas. Yeah, they call it the citizens are called prajas. It's like children. They have to take care of. And that was the duty of a Kshatriya, to take care of all of them. that it was their culture, their duty. And yes, we see in the time of Ramachandra, because as a Kshatriya, you are a leader and you are responsible for the people. And you get, this is in the fourth canto, the story of where Prithu Maharaj is discussed. There is mentioned, Prabhupada mentioned, a leader takes 1/6 of the good karma from the people and 1/6 of the bad karma. So whatever leadership you take, you are a temple president, you get also 1/6 of the karma of those who are under you, for which you are responsible. And it's a very responsible function that to be leadership, to take leadership, one must be spiritually advanced. Therefore, they were twice born. Without being spiritually advanced, you cannot take leadership of anyone. Therefore, they were twice born. That's that. At Ramachandra's kingdom, then during certain days, people could come and ring a bell, and if he had a complaint, and then Lord Ramachandra will listen to them. So, and one day there was a dog who came complaining. He was speaking, I don't know, because in his previous life he had been he had been a leader. He was the leader of an ashram, but he made an error and he became a dog. So, but by Krishna's grace, he remembered his previous life, could still speak. But he was in the body of a dog, and he came before Ramachandra and he said, there's a Brahman who is mishandling me, abusing and mishandling me. And I want him to be punished. And Lord Ramachandra said to the dog, what punishment should I give him? Well, I said, as punishment, you give him, tell him that he should become the leader of this ashram. Because in his previous life, he was the leader of the ashram, and when he made an error and he became a dog. So he saw it as a punishment. So we should not so be eager for leadership until we are spiritual advanced. Spiritual advanced means the service spirit should be very high. Like the Maharaj always says, greater position in our movement means greater servant. One must be spiritually advanced. Otherwise, the position that one takes will be very troublesome, too disturbed. And then if one is not peaceful, spiritual life becomes very difficult. But yes, this Kshatriya spirit was also, it's also in the Bhagavatam that in the 10th canto, that a Brahman came to Kinuga saying, complaining that, look, I've already got 9 children born, and when they take birth, they die. There must be something wrong in your kingdom that such a thing is possible in your kingdom. He said, alas, we are in Kali Yuga. In Kali Yuga, there are no qualified Kshatriya. He said. And Arjuna heard this, and he vowed to protect the next child born of the Brahman's wife, and then to so that it not could be taken away by Yamaraj. Anyway, he vowed that if I fail, he said, I will enter fire. But he failed, and he was ready to enter fire, but Krishna came in between and said, wait a minute, let's see, let's retrieve these children. Anyway, they went together then to the coverings of the universe to see Mahavishnu, because Mahavishnu had taken away all these children because he wanted to see Krishna. Anyway, but we see that a Kshatriya, even if nature doesn't cooperate during his rules, it is said that it must be because of the impious deeds of the Kshatriya. So they were very responsible even for natural disasters. So that's the life of a Kshatriya. And here we see, of course, that Yudhishthira Maharaj, that Parikshit Maharaj is on his tour of his kingdom to see if everything is well. And then he sees a cow beaten by a person who is dressed like a king. That is dressed like a king, and then there's mystically there's a bull standing on one leg. Very mystical. How can one stand on one leg? A four-legged animal. The bull. That and immediately Parikshit Maharaj, he wanted to punish this person, even kill this person, because this person is imposing himself as a Kshatriya, but the Kshatriya is to protect others, has to protect the cow and animals. But this person, dressed as a king, did just to do the opposite. So Maharaj Parikshit was surprised. How can such a thing happen in my kingdom? It said, do you think you can do this? Because Arjuna is not there anymore, but I'm his representative. That how can you kill or abuse those who are helpless? You are dressed like a king, but you are not acting as a king, but opposite to the principles of a Kshatriya. A Kshatriya should protect others. So he was very surprised that this was happening in his kingdom. And that, of course, Kali Yuga has started. And Kali Yuga started by, how did Kali enter? Kali entered through the Brahmins, Shringi. And that Kali wanted to destroy the varnasarama system altogether. And he knew, I cannot enter that system unless I can pollute these Brahmins. And then, of course, that Shringi later will curse Maharaj Parikshit. And that Shringi was an unexperienced son, Brahman son, the son of Samika Rishi. And because Maharaj Parikshit had so-called offended his father, which was not the case, that he cursed Maharaj Pariksit because he was puffed up. He was thinking, you you entered the ashram of my father, Shamika Rishi, the great sage, but you are a Kshatriya. Kshatriyas should stay outside and not enter without permission, like a dog does not enter the house, because the Brahmins are of a higher caste. So he was clearly puffed up. And doesn't fall down for a Brahma. For a Brahman is never puffed up, he's always humble. Because if a Kshatriya hears that the Brahman is puffed up, he cannot stand it. And he rejects the Brahman. And that is what happens. In the Vedic systems, the Brahmins were the head, the intelligence, that they educated everyone. And under their direction, the Kshatriyas were protecting everyone. And the Vaishyas were feeding everyone, giving everything they need. And the Sudras were helping the other three Varnas, the three other orders, social orders. And there was peace in society. That was a Vedic society, a godly society. But then when the Brahmins became puffed up, the Kshatriyas rejected them. And because they rejected the Brahmins, they started to act for their own enjoyment, the Kshatriyas, not based on religious principles anymore. And they started to abuse the Vaishyas and the Sudras. But the Vaishyas had to have the capital and all the monetary power, possessions. So they started to rule and divide. They started to give favors to one Kshatriya and reject another Kshatriya. And by that they were ruling with their capital. That was the beginning of capitalism. Capitalism is a degraded system based on greed, high mind. But then, yes, the Sudras, they were supporting the Vaishyas and the others, but then they saw all these Vaishyas, they are exploiting us with their capital. Let's start a revolution. And they rejected this capitalism, the Vaishyas. And they started a revolution and dividing the wealth amongst the Sudras. And that is communism. Is even a more degraded system. And in capitalism, communism, there is no peace, no way of peace. Only the Vedic systems give this peace, that everyone is engaged according to their nature. And Maharaj Pariksit, it was his duty to make sure everyone is engaged according to his nature. And that's also important for us, that we cooperate in a humble way with our authorities who are qualified, who have the good qualities of a Brahman. And of course, in this age, that perfection is not there. We are all trying the best with the qualities that we have. And therefore, cooperation is very important. Cooperation and tolerance. But with cooperation and tolerance, if we cooperate to please Srila Prabhupada, have a spiritual purpose, then we will be able to make progress. If I mind comes in, then we feel unhappy. We become degraded. So this is what explained here, that Maharaj Pariksit is doing his duty, and he sees the first signs of Kali in his kingdom. Of course, Kali afterwards, he will surrender, he will give up his royal dress and ask for forgiveness. And if someone surrenders to Ksatriya, then the Ksatriya cannot kill this person. That's not person. So he must forgive them and give them a possibility to rectify. Of course, they must rectify. That, and that is what Maharaj Pariksit did. But Maharaj Pariksit said, yes, you cannot stay in my kingdom. But Kali said, I need a place to stay. Okay, Maharaj Pariksit said, you can stay where there is gold and prostitution. But at that time, that was not present in his kingdom. But Kali will find his way to create it. And that was the beginning of Kali Yuga. Wherever there is gold and prostitution, Kali is there. That money, gold, that it's everywhere in this Kali Yuga. So this is the kingdom of Kali. And we are supposed to spread Krishna consciousness in such an opposing atmosphere. Everything is in Kali Yuga is going against spiritual life practically. But we must have faith in Krishna and do our best. That opposing elements will be there. That we cannot expect that it will go smooth, the spread of Krishna consciousness. Especially when we become successful, there will be a lot of opposition. And we have seen that in the past. But by Srila Prabhupada's mercy, we will be able to spread Krishna consciousness if we are very sincere. And that spreading of Krishna consciousness in our service will help us to develop the qualities of a pure devotee. And the more pure we become, the more expert in Krishna, in spreading Krishna consciousness. Because that's the purpose of our movement. If we are building a community, the building of the community is meant to invite people to hear about Krishna, to speak about Krishna. That is our duty. That our duty towards Srila Prabhupada, that's the purpose of our centers, to help everyone to connect with Krishna, and then a place where they can be instructed in Krishna consciousness and serve, perform service. So this is the mercy, by engaging everyone in service. So this is what I could say on this verse. Any questions or comments, please?
Thank you, Maharaj. A wonderful class. Um, so currently in our existing environment, it is very difficult to follow this varnashram system. So what is the best thing we can do? Because being a grahastha, we need to work in in such environment and to take care of our family. So how we can continue without creating more karmic reaction?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is, we need to become expert in the dovetailing technique. Everything we do connected internally with Krishna, and that will protect us. Of course, with the outside world, we only associate for the business. That's all. Not for any other purpose. That's there we have to build a barrier. That, but for business, okay. That or for our work, but internally we should do it for Krishna. That so that's important that we make that connection and train ourselves to do it. And to make that connection, it's important, like because I spoke about Kshatriyas, that 6 hours in the morning they have spiritual programs like we have. That so that spiritual sadhana is where the power comes from. And then with that power, spiritual power during the day, we can connect our consciousness with Krishna. So this is important that we train ourselves in that way. That like we may have to drive a car. While driving, we can hear about Krishna. We can hear kirtan. That we can try to organize our life as much as possible. That we are dovetailed with Krishna, even during our work. That so yes, I remember when I was a bookkeeper, I was introducing data in the computer. It was in the 80s. That different computers introducing data, and that was more or less a mechanistic work. And at the same time, while I was introducing data, I was memorizing verses from Bhagavad Gita. But you have to see how to combine that as much as possible. That always you have some connection with Krishna. You have difficulties, you pray to Krishna to solve the difficulties in your work, to help to overcome the challenges. Pray to Krishna to do it first class because it's for him. That so internally always connect with Krishna. It's like the advice of Lord Chaitanya to Raghunadas Goswami, who was in family life and said, yeah, externally you do your business, but internally you are like a paramour. So a wife was a lover, and a husband should not know it. Therefore, she does externally household chores very first class, but internally she thinks always of her lover. So in that way, you should always work and internally be with Krishna. It requires training. It doesn't come one day. After a few days, it takes a training. But sometimes in our work, if we forget Krishna, then suddenly we get difficulties, and then we can remember Krishna again. Krishna organizes that, and there will always be difficulties. I hope that helps. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Maharaj. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Okay, good. And thank you very much. I look forward to see you next week. Wednesday, probably. I will be in Spain. I'll let you know the beginning of next week, but probably it will be next Wednesday. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Jai.
Okay, Maharaj. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.